Okay, hello and welcome to On the Couch with Steve, a podcast where we help you navigate the often complex world of buying, selling and renting real estate here in the Ipswich real estate area. I'm Steve Athanates, I'm the owner of NGU Real Estate Ipswich. Today we're going to be chatting about what's happening in the Greater Springfield real estate market. So we've got Dan Holmes from our Greater Springfield office with NGU Greater Springfield. Welcome, Dan. How are you today?
Thanks, Terry. I'm very good, thank you.
That's good. I'm Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
You knucklehead.
Athanates.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to jump straight into it. So, Dan, you've been selling real estate in Greater Springfield for about the last 2 years?
Yes, 2 years now. Just clicked over 2 years.
Beautiful. So as part of, obviously, being an agent in that area, you've just kicked over to what we in our business is called an elite agent.
Yes.
So you're selling $500,000 worth of gross commission.
Yep.
So congratulations on that milestone.
Thanks, mate.
Now, mate, I guess what they've viewers at home want to know is what's happening in the Greater Springfield real estate market. I know you specialise particularly in relation to Spring Mountain.
Yeah.
But give us just a broad overview, firstly, of what's happening in Greater Springfield.
I think short term, the last couple of months, the market's been performing really, really well just because there's been very limited stock come to market. But over the last 12 months, I guess we've sort of gone through a bit of an up and down in terms of start of the year, we were stable. End of last year, it was sort of dipping quite substantially. And in the middle of last year, it was, again, quite high up. So I don't think we've struggled in the last 12 months. We've performed really, really well. Buyers are still aplenty, and as I said, recently in the last 3 months, stock has dropped substantially. Yeah,
we're finding that across the board. I heard a statistic just recently where stock levels are down 52%.
Wow.
On what they were this time a year ago. We were previously saying it was 43%, now it's 52% down on what it was a year ago. So you'd be feeling the same impact. Now, when you're saying buyers are aplenty in that Springfield market, just give us an example. Average open home on a Saturday, you guys would be opening up anywhere between 8, 10, 12 properties a weekend. How many buyers would you expect to see at an open home in Greater Springfield?
I guess it really depends on the price point. But anything sort of 500 to 700,000, you're probably looking on average 20 groups, and that's no exaggeration. 8 to 9, you're probably looking around that 12 to 15, and then pushing up $1 million. I mean, we opened a home in Augustine Heights for 1.35 to 1.45, and believe it or not, we had over 20 groups in the first open.
Wow!
So the numbers are still really, really strong, and I guess the best thing about Greater Springfield, in a sense, is there's only a limited amount of properties that you can buy. There's only a limited amount of properties that they're going to continue to build. It's a 20% greenery urban environment, so they can't expand the suburb up to a certain point, and then people have to go, external.
Okay, so on average, if you're getting anywhere between, say, 10 and 20 people to an open home, I'm guessing you're experiencing multiple offer situations on just about every property?
Every property, yeah, absolutely every property. Unless, I don't think we haven't had multiple offers in the last 12 months. We've at least had 2 or 3 offers to play around with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's super competitive for buyers, which means it's a great environment if you're a seller in that Greater Springfield market.
Absolutely. I mean, the only sort of time you wouldn't find yourself in a multiple offers scenario is if you've grossly overcapitalised and you've put a very large price on your home.
Yep.
But in general, if you're pricing it strategically and you're creating that competition, you'll find yourself in multiple offers. Okay,
beautiful. Now, as I said earlier, I know you specialise in Spring Mountain. That's one of your favourite areas, and an area that you've had a great impact in that marketplace. It's the newest part of the Greater Springfield environment there.
Yep.
What's happening in Spring Mountain?
Yeah, there's heaps, mate. Like as you said, I guess you don't really appreciate a new home until you're in a new home. So I think that's been the big driving force. It is the newest suburb throughout Greater Springfield, but then also it's combining the convenience of location. It's probably the closest suburb to what will be the city centre, and a lot of people are starting to get educated around what's actually coming to Greater Springfield, but it will be a city. So Spring Mountain is still developed in a way that it's convenient for location, but it's also isolated in position. So it goes up on the hill, it goes over the hill, and it actually feels like you're away from city life. So I think that's been a massive driving force for the people that want to purchase there. You only have to really drive around there and see, it's a very beautiful suburb. It's got parks and a heap of different things coming. The schools are probably the biggest attraction for the suburb at the moment. Everyone is raving about the schools. So Spring Mountain in itself is doing really, really well.
No worries. Now, I know you've really researched the area. You know what's happening in terms of future infrastructure. I believe you've developed your own, basically, guide to what's happening in that sort of area.
Yes.
Why don't you tell, the viewers what's happening in Spring Mountain? What can they expect? Obviously, we know there is a Lions training facility there and a stadium.
Yep.
What else is happening?
Heaps. I actually have a book coming out. It's getting launched this week. So it's Greater Springfield, presented by Dan Holmes from NGU. And it goes through each suburb individually, what's happening, what's happened in the last 12 months as well, how much growth we've seen. But just to give you sort of a small insight as to what's happening, I mean, the stadium's still going to be developed into a world-class facility so that we have one of the Olympic events held there in 2000, I think it's 32.
32, yeah.
So that's, it's going to continue to develop. We've got in Spring Mountain especially, we've now got a full centre with a learn to swim. We've got grocery stores going there. We've got a water treatment plant that's getting built there in the next 2 to 3 years. We've got a vertical school coming in Springfield Central, which will be the first in the nation. So
what's a vertical school?
It's literally just high rises and it not spanned out over a huge amount of space. It will literally be built on a smaller footprint, but just go straight up. So that's coming. Heaps, yeah. Like the lagoon is getting expanded to a point where you can kayak and waterboard and all these sorts of things. So
wow,
yeah, there's lots and lots coming, and this has been months and months of research and talking to developers and Springfield City Landcorp City. They sort of panned out a plan. Obviously, there's lots of work to go ahead to get all this done, but just to sort of paint a picture for people, we're looking at tripling in population over the next 20 years. So as I said, there is very limited amount of property and homes that can actually be built in the next 5 years. So that population will span out to Ripley, South Ripley and all those sorts of things as well. But for people that are looking to buy in Greater Springfield, I guess whatever homes that you might be able to get your hands on, they over the next 10 to 15 to 20 years will become very, very desirable, I guess. Okay,
Dan, so you mentioned that you've produced this book. Sounds like an absolutely amazing resource. If someone wanted a copy of the book and they wanted to know everything about what's happening in Springfield, Springfield Lakes, Augustine Heights, Spring Mountain, how do they get a copy?
So we're going to do a couple of different sort of platforms. We're going to have an ebook copy, so that can be sent out to anyone via a link or QR codes or anything like that, via email, text messages. And the other way we're going to do it is we're going to have hard copies, and for everyone that's going through Greater Springfield, keep an eye out. There's a section in the book that's called Dan's Favourites, and in those favourites are listed cafes in each suburb. So we're going to have some hard copies out in the Greater Springfield region at the cafes, and if you're lucky enough, you might be able to get your hands on one.
Beautiful. Like, it sounds like an amazing resource. We talked a lot about what's happening for sellers. If you're a buyer trying to buy into any of these areas in the Greater Springfield area, what's your tips to buyers? How can they increase their chances of securing a property where it's obviously super, super competitive?
In all honesty, Steve, my tip, and it's a little bit external to what a lot of other people tell buyers, is just create a relationship with an agent. And if that means you go to every single agent, then do that. Call up every single agency throughout Greater Springfield, tell them what you want. I mean, don't be a pain in the neck. Just be polite and say, listen, I'm a serious buyer. I know you've probably got 1,000 of other people telling you the same thing, but I'm going to give you my information. If there's some sort of automated system that you can put me on, that'd be great. Otherwise, we'll check in with you in a couple of weeks. You'll find that, if you're not, like I said, a pain in the neck, and you're just in constant communication with them and you're polite and you are a serious buyer, if someone approaches me like that, they're up on a board for me. So
you'll go out of your way to help them find a
absolutely.
property. Now, I know at NGU we have a databasing system,
yep,
and we have a buy and match system. So when we list a property that suits a buyer's criteria in terms of budget, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, it automatically sends them a message. So if they've created a relationship with someone like yourself,
Yep.
the system, even if you were on holidays, the system automatically sends them an email saying, hey guys, just listed something that you would be super interested in. And then your advice is jump onto it straight away.
Absolutely.
Don't wait 3 days or a week and think, oh, I'll ring the agent about that. It'll
Yep.
be gone.
Yeah, exactly. And that automated system might not be set up everywhere, but it should be. But we do that. And I think it's an amazing tool.
Absolutely awesome. All right, well, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in to hear and see more about what's happening on the couch with Steve. Obviously, make sure you subscribe to the link here below. Special thanks to our guest here, Dan Holmes from our NGU Greater Springfield office. Thanks, Dan. This was awesome.
Thanks, Steve.
If you have an opinion about the topics that we're discussing here at any time, obviously we're extremely interested in hearing your thoughts. So please share those with us, and please stay tuned for more On the Couch with Steve.